Alright, a little bit of engineering later, and we should have something that's working. I get some more potatoes. We're just going to drop them on the track right in front of me. The hopper cart should just pick those up once it runs over them. Just snatch them up, and then we should start seeing it delivered finally to these blocks down here as it goes across the top. And indeed, there we go. So those have been delivered. It's piped into here. So these are now ready to receive a redstone signal in order to plant. That is actually exactly what we want to have happen, and you know, it's going good. So what's our next move? Well, our next move is we need to set up something to harvest these, and that's where we start coming up with timers, pulse. Where were they? Sorry, I just plosived right all over you guys. Pulse mana spreaders, and we're gonna need some drawers and a whole setup here. All right. So what's that gonna look like? Well, first thing we should do is put down some floating aggrecarnations. Floating aggrecarnations, we'll just put, I don't know. This potato's almost done. I think we're gonna put some floating aggrecarnations just here, and maybe there. I don't know if these are gonna be actually able to reach all the flowers. I may have to move them. In a little bit towards the center here, but we're going to start with it in the four corners. We're also going to be getting some action from these worms. Now that we got these down, they're not doing anything, as you can clearly see, because in order to do something, they actually have to have a mana source, and that's going to come after the farm is mostly set up. But before we get to that part, we need to think about what's going to pick up our potatoes. And of course, the thing that I want to pick up our potatoes is just going to be a hopper hawk, because hopper hawk. I want it to go one up from here, which I think should still be within range of where the potatoes are. But I'm going to put the hopper hawk up one, like so. Where's our hopper hawk? And I want to put it right here. Right here. Apparently it didn't mind running into me. So we need to then have this hopper hawk pick up potatoes, put them into a storage drawer, and then drop those potatoes onto these tracks. The idea being that because this can pick up potatoes that are just sitting in the world, by keeping potatoes dropping out of a crate onto this track whenever it has any, the minecart with the hopper will drive over them and pick them up. Now that said, we're not actually going to be storing our potatoes over here. So we're just going to actually pump those potatoes to... we're going to protect those potatoes directly into a hopper, but we're going to need an open crate below that before we can do anything. And of course, I don't have an open crate on me, so give me a moment. Alright, open crate is in hand. Oop, don't want to be hit by that guy. Alright, I did it again. I did it again. Alright, so what we need to do is put our open crate right on top of this block here. That means that anything that goes into this open crate will simply drop right onto that tile. And then next to this open crate, we're just going to put going into this open crate, we're going to put a hopper. And then onto this hopper, we are going to put an item frame. Let's just put it here, I guess. That's fine. And then we need to get a potato out of one of our... sir? I'm sorry I was standing in your way. That's fine. We can fix that in a bit. So we need a potato to go on here. Okay, so now potatoes that are in the world should get picked up. Hopper hawk. Yep, they get picked up and then dispensed into there. Now this guy, come on. Okay. Oy, I just dumped that right into these. Yep, okay. Now, as you're going to see, they're going to cycle. We got to reform the minecart with a hopper. How annoying. But they're going to cycle, which actually should not cause any real problems. So if we do that, what this should do is come along. Every so often, it'll snag those potatoes and then distribute them. And as you can see, no more being picked up. Perfect. So this is going to be our system to get the potatoes picked up and distributed. However, there are some complications that we have to account for. The first being that there is going to be a secondary product in the form of poisonous potatoes. So for that, what we're going to do is take a basic drawer. We'll just set it, I don't know, we'll set it back over, set it back over here. Good. And then what we'll do is we're going to get ourselves a poisonous potato, which I think I have some in one of my chests here. Let me find it real quick. And with poisonous potatoes in hand now, we're going to come back over to the storage drawer, put the poisonous potatoes in there, and then we're going to lock it. And that means that now only poisonous potatoes can go into here. And because we have this one filtered to only regular potatoes, there's nowhere else for the potatoes to go other than the poisonous potatoes in here and regular potatoes in here. Now, as far as cleanup, what we're going to do is take this void upgrade, and I need to use a open hand. Take this void upgrade, and we're going to place it into this storage drawer. And what that will do is that once this fills up with poisonous potatoes, all the rest of the poisonous potatoes will still get picked up and put into the storage drawer, but anything above that limit just is destroyed. Which, from our part, is nice because it cleans up all the poisonous potatoes that could just lay around here. And at the same time, it still collects enough that we'll be able to use poisonous potatoes for the couple of things that they are useful for. So this provides a very nice solution to that. Alright, so now we have our pickup and distribution system. But I had mentioned that, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be storing our excess potatoes here. Which is true, I'm not going to be. So where are we going to be storing excess potatoes? Well, that comes down to the fact that I did not build this end probably as good as I should have, but I think I can still make it work. What we're going to do is on one of these, and I think I'm going to pick this corner here, we're going to replace this block with our last hopper. And we're actually going to need to move this guy here because he's going to be in the way. The heck? Okay, there it comes. We're going to move him. What? It's gone. Oh no, it's over here. Okay. Whew. For a second there, I just thought I lost an Agar Carnation, and they're not terribly cheap. So we're going to grab this here, and unfortunately it's going to break the track, and our guy's going to come flying off at me. It's fine. Come on, break. There we go. Pick those pieces up. We're going to take our hopper and a basic drawer. And our basic drawer, for now, we're going to place right there. And we're going to have to do something a little bit different with this once we get past this. But for now, this will work. So then we go there, and then we get our track, and we place it down. So what this is doing is that on every single pass, one potato is going to get put into this basic drawer. Now, as this system makes more and more potatoes, all of these hoppers are eventually going to fill up faster than the potatoes can be planted, which means any excess potatoes will eventually make their ways to this basic drawer. I could increase this by putting additional hoppers or moving this out, but for the most part, this is actually going to be good enough because this farm isn't going to be super fast, and this cart's going to be making passes, as you can see, every about 10 or 15 seconds. And because of that, it's still going to eventually get all the potatoes here, and I think it's going to move faster than this can be harvested. So I don't think we're going to have any problems as far as getting everything where it needs to be. Now, in future setups where I've maybe got a lot more farmland going, yeah, it's probably going to be a good idea to have a better system than that. But that's when we start moving into things like corporea networks and things like that. So that's for later. All right. Now we want to do a little bit of a test of, I guess, feasibility here. Problem being is I don't know if, because there's no mana source, if this hopper is going to work. But we're going to give it a try. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a harvest of this potato here because it's mature. We'll see if those get picked up. They might be out of range because without that hopper hawk being powered by mana, its range is actually pretty low. No, it's still good enough. All right, so it's dropping the potatoes. If we look in here, there are 11 potatoes. It's going to grab those potatoes, and it should start distributing. Yep, there's 12 potatoes. Good. So now we have a fully rigged system to plant potatoes when it gets the red signals, to distribute potatoes, to pick up the potatoes, and to automatically collect the potatoes. And if we come over here, hopefully that probably was not enough to actually get our first potato in there yet. No, because that was only, what, 4 potatoes, so it would have just been distributed to these 4 here. All right, so we've actually got most of the framework set up for this thing. The only things left is actually to get the harvesting and the planting things set up. So for harvest, we're going to need a drum of the wild. Now, if we grab our Lexia Botanica here, we can see that a drum of the wild, if we go into the search here, we need a drum. Oh, drunk. Yes, a drunk of the wild. A drum of the wild is, it's based on the horn. We need a horn of the wild, and we're going to need a bunch of living wood and a little bit of leather. So it's actually not that bad to make. And a horn of the wild is simply, if I remember correctly, just some wood and a thing. Yes, I know, that was really specific. So we got a horn of the wild, which is the pasture seed, and more living wood. So let's go make ourselves a drum of the wild real quick. And Darklead is just not having a good night. Look at that, swimming in lava. All right, so we're going to need a whole bunch of living wood. We're going to need a pasture seed. Pasture seed. Pasture seed. I had a whole stack there. Need pasture seed, and then I need 2 pieces of leather. So yeah, drum of the wild actually pretty cheap to make. Surprisingly cheap, actually, for as nice as they are to use. Okay, leather. And then make ourselves a nice horn of the wild. So it was a pasture seed here. These and a little kind of arrowy thing, I think. I'm just messing that up. How was it again? Oh, okay. Well, I was close. So like that. We get that in there. Then we just make our drum like so with our 2 pieces of leather. Good. Drum of the wild. So what this does is when a mana burst hits it, it sends out a drum signal, I guess, if you want to call it that, and will break all plants within a certain range. So we're just going to place it actually kind of right in the middle, right here. That should be good enough to activate all that land. Then the question comes up, well, how are we going to make this work? How is this going to do what we need it to do, which is to be drummed? And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a mana spreader under it. Specifically, a pulsed mana spreader. And if I can use the right equipment to dig out a little area here, I don't actually... Hey. What was that? Okay. Help! Somebody help me! What's going on? Help! So anyway, that little freak out was brought to us by our little friend, the Phantom block. I had to log out and log back in. There was actually a block here, and the client thought that there wasn't a block there, but the server knew that there was a block there, and that's how you get those little freakouts. So we're just gonna have to rebuild. I was digging all around hoping that I would hit something, but yeah. So, yeah, that happens. I know that Toasty had a lot of issues with that in the Resonant Rise 3 server when using power drills. All right, so anyway, as I was saying, what we're gonna do here, Rage Rising, he's just not having a good night. What we're going to do here is we're going to place a mana pool. Actually, I don't think I want to place it directly. Do I want to place it directly under there? Yeah, it's probably fine. Yeah, it's probably fine. I'm going to place a mana pool down there. And we're going to place our pulse mana spreader on top of it. Face it straight up using the wand that I don't have with me. Hey. We are doing really good tonight, aren't we, with that? Anyway, grab that, and we got to face it upwards, so we're just going to put it there. Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking, and I put it under one of the hoppers. We actually have to move this one out. I'm such a doof sometimes. Yes, we need that. We need it to be one out because we need to place something on top of that drum as well. So we need to move this. Need to move this over to here. Doesn't seem like much, but it will make a heck of a difference because it's going to be the difference between working and totally not working. So once again, we grab our pulse mana spreader, plop that guy on top. That one's actually already facing upwards, which is perfect. Grab our drum of the wild, put it there, And that's almost all set up. Now, there are a couple other things we're going to need to do. The first thing we need to do, other than get mana in there, which will actually happen courtesy of a more robust mana system, which we're going to be working on after this whole setup is made. But I'll probably just mana tablet some in. So that's all set up pretty much good for now. We are going to have to figure out how to get the stuff into that, but we'll work on that in a second. So then what we need to do is have something for after this shoots a mana pulse through the Strum of the Wild, and I'll talk about through in a second. It's going to hit something that we need it then to redirect that mana, and that thing is we need a Force Relay. And a Force Relay is an easy creature to make, and I think I left it over here. What you do is you grab yourself a piston. We're going to need actually 2 Force Relays, possibly 3. You grab yourself a piston, and hopefully I can do this just right. Oops, sorry about that. Somebody's texting me. I have to leave my phone on because it's an important possible text tonight. But anyway, you throw it in there, and it ends up somewhere. Did I pick it up? Well, there it is. Okay, there's our Force Relay. So it's just a piston in any given mana pool. So you throw... Unfortunately, with them all stacked like this, it can be hard to get the piston into the mana pool. We're having some more lag because it's taking me forever to pick stuff up. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now we've got our Force Relays. So the first Force Relay is going to go right above our friend the drum. So he's going to go right there. Now what we need to do is grab our Wand of the Forest. Why did that happen? Oh, I was holding shift. Yep. Anyway, so we take our first Force Relay, and again, place it there, grab there, and then right underneath our mana detector, there. And so what that should do is link those two together so that when a burst of mana hits this Force Relay, it'll instantly teleport over there and go through this mana detector. Now after it hits this mana detector, we need it once again hit a Force Relay and go back to this mana pool here. Now, in order to get that to happen, we're going to actually have to break this block here so that we can link this Force Relay to this block here. So now that should create a loop where mana is shot through this drum into this Force Relay, out of this block here, up through this mana detector, hit this Force Relay, then come out of this block underneath the mana pool and into the mana pool. Now it's also possible that I'm actually going to have to break this block and actually put it under the mana pool with a hovering mana pool. Well, we're going to have to see about that. I think, oh, Monacan just showed up. I think it should work okay that way. And I'm not really sure I'm going to test it otherwise, other than just putting a little bit of mana in there and setting it off. Alright, so now most everything's set up, except we need to address that whole shooting mana through the drum. Now in order to do that, we actually need to create a compound lens. And the compound lens needs to have the ability to pass through things while also needing to activate the Force Relays and teleport. And that is 2 lenses. Oh, Monica's, I guess, leaving. So we've got a Bohr lens, which actually I don't need. I don't know why I put the Bohr lens in there. That must be... Oh, that's for a different... Yeah, that's for a different project. What I need to do is get some regular lenses. Efficiency. I don't have any regular lenses. Bugger.